Have you ever wondered why some organizations just work? They just click? Meanwhile, others, even with all the money and talent in the world, just seem to fall apart. It's this huge puzzle, right? Well, it almost always comes down to one thing: their internal blueprint.
So, that's what we're going to dig into. We are going to unpack that blueprint. We're going to figure out what separates the innovators that thrive from the ones that just get stuck in the mud.
All right, let's start with part one, designing the blueprint. This is all about the scaffolding, the very foundation of how an organization is put together.
Okay, so the first piece of the puzzle is something called division of labor. Basically, it's about breaking down big tasks into smaller, specialized jobs to be more efficient. Makes sense, right? But here's the catch. If you take it too far, you create these little silos where nobody talks to each other, and that can absolutely kill the kind of teamwork you need to innovate.
Next up, you've got the chain of command. You know, that clear line that shows exactly who reports to whom. And it's not just about being a bossy hierarchy. It's about clarity. It's about knowing who's accountable when, things hit the fan. And believe me, when that chain breaks, the results can be absolutely catastrophic. Just look at the Deepwater Horizon disaster. Emergency shutdowns were delayed. Why? Because nobody was sure who had the final say. The scene was described as just pure chaos. It's a terrifying reminder of why this stuff really, really matters.
So, what did BP do? Well, their response was totally structural. They built a brand new safety department from the ground up and gave it real teeth, the power to step in and challenge risky decisions. They were trying to weld those broken links in the chain back together.
And this whole situation really shines a light on a constant tug-of-war in business: centralization versus decentralization. Do you keep decision-making power at the very top for control, especially in a crisis, or do you push it down to the front line so you can adapt faster? The thing is, neither one is right. The secret sauce is making sure your choice, your structure, actually fits your company's strategy.
So when you put all these ideas together, you get these different blueprints for how to build a company, and each one has its pros and cons. You've got your old school functional departments that build deep expertise, all the way to these super flexible virtual networks like what Nike does. But the big takeaway here, every single design choice is a trade-off. You're always balancing control, flexibility, and efficiency.
But look, a blueprint on paper is just paper. It's useless without the right people to bring it to life. And that brings us perfectly to part two, powering the human engine. This is all about people, talent, and culture. Get this, a whopping 71% of CEOs say that human capital, basically the combined knowledge and skills of their employees, is the #1 factor for success. That's not just a nice thought. Your people are your edge.
But the whole game between employers and employees has completely changed. I mean, the old social contract, the one with lifetime loyalty and a gold watch, that's gone. Today, it's a whole new deal. The employee says, "I'll bring my skills and manage my own career." And the company says, "Great, we'll give you tough, interesting work and chances to grow." It's like what Netflix famously says, "We are a team, not a family."
So in this new world, how do you even find the right people? Well, one really powerful tool is blind hiring. The idea is simple. You strip away all the identifying details from a resume and just focus on pure skills. And the results are incredible. Platforms like Gap Jumpers have seen the percentage of qualified, diverse candidates getting hired jump from just 20% all the way up to 60%. That's a huge difference.
And it's not just hiring that's changing. Once you have people on the team, how you manage their performance is being turned on its head. You know that dreaded annual review? Yeah, that's on its way out. It's being replaced with continuous, real-time feedback. Look at IBM. They swapped their old system for one called Checkpoint. It's all about constant conversation, not just a grade once a year. And what happened? Employee engagement shot up by 20%.
And finally, let's talk about pay. It's not just about the salary anymore. We're seeing the rise of what's called total rewards. Companies are thinking bigger. They're doing things like pay equity adjustments, helping with student loan debt, and even giving paid yay days just to go outside and have fun. The message is loud and clear. Taking care of your employees' whole well-being isn't just nice, it's a core business strategy.
Okay, so you've got a great blueprint and an amazing team. But even with all that, you're going to face the ultimate test, change. So let's dive into part 3, navigating constant change, or what I like to call the inevitable shakeup.
History is littered with the ghosts of companies that couldn't adapt. I mean, take Xerox. This is a classic. They literally invented the core tech for the personal computer, but they were so locked into their copier business, they just let Apple and Microsoft walk in and steal the future.
And then there's Nokia. Remember them? They were kings. They made the first smartphone way back in 1996, but they just didn't see that the future was all about software, not hardware. They completely whiffed on the iPhone, and just like that, their whole business model was toast. And BlackBerry. Oh man, they owned the entire professional world, but they were so obsessed with that physical keyboard that they were completely blind to the touchscreen revolution happening right in front of them. The boat sailed, and they weren't on it. All of these stories are perfect examples of the boiling frog analogy. You know the one, if you put a frog in boiling water, it jumps out. But if you put it in cool water and slowly heat it up, it doesn't notice the gradual change until it's too late. And that's us. We are terrible at spotting slow creeping threats. We just tweak what we're already doing, and we completely miss the moment when we need to jump out of the pot and do something radically different. So why are we like this? Why do we resist change so much? Well, it's because change messes with our core human needs. It threatens our need for certainty, for feeling significant. So if you want to get people on board with change, you can't just talk business logic. You have to show them how this new way of doing things will actually help them meet other needs, like new opportunities for growth or a chance to contribute in a bigger way.
So, where does this all leave us? What's the big idea we need to walk away with? That brings us to our final part, aligning structure with strategy. And it really boils down to a fundamental choice. If your strategy is all about being super efficient in a predictable market, then you need a mechanistic system. Think rigid, centralized, like a well-oiled machine. But if your goal is to innovate and thrive in a world that's constantly changing, you need an organic system, something loose, flexible, decentralized, and able to adapt on the fly. The bottom line is, your structure has to help your strategy not get in its way.
And what's really fascinating here is that research from decades ago showed that the work itself pretty much dictates the best structure. If you're on a mass production assembly line, a rigid machine-like system is perfect. But if you're building custom satellites or solving complex problems, you need that flexible, organic structure. So the very tools and technology you use will shape the kind of organization you ought to build.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. Knowing what we know now, knowing that we're all wired to be like that frog, slow to notice the water getting warmer, how can you take these ideas and not just react to change when it happens? How can you actually lead it before the water ever starts to boil?